Welcome to our Projects in iOS course from Eduionics. My name is Brett. In this lesson, we're going to load up our quiz questions and randomize them coming out of the core data entity. So this way, we're not getting the same question each time. Now we're going to work on loading up our question. And to do that, we need to do a query and get the actual question. So if we look at our view right now, we're going to need a way to move to the next quiz, which we don't have right now. So that's going to rotate through the questions and also through the answers. So this is kind of going to be the last piece of UI. It should be the last piece of UI we'll have to add. So if we go ahead and do that now, then we can focus on the back end code. But to actually do that, we need to create the button that we're going to have up here in the backend code. So we can go over here, and what we want to do is inside of view did load, we're going to do some modifications to the navigation bar. So right here, we can go ahead and do that. We can do self, navigation, and this is going to be an item. And what we want is right bar button, because this button is going to go on the right-hand side. So it's going to be a UI bar. Let's see, bar button item. And we want the one starting with title, which is going to be the last one. And then it's going to say next. The style, we're going to just do plain. So UI bar button item style is plain. Let's see, make sure that stays. Yeah, that should work. Need a capital P here. Then for the target, we're just going to do self, and for the action. So we're going to use this syntax here at the # selector. Now we'll give the action a name. So it's going to be detail view controller, and it's going to be called next quiz. So we can see if this is going to appear in the UI, and then we'll have to go ahead and build out this particular method. So I think it's going to give us an error. We can mock this method, so just basically create the body for it so we can get rid of the error. So next quiz is not going to return anything, and I'm going to put it down here. So function next quiz, and that should handle this error. Looks like it did. And if we run this, we can check and see if our UI item is inside of the navigation now. And we'll do presidents. There it is. We can actually test the click of this as well. So I'll put my breakpoint here, go back to the simulator, click next, and that is working. All right, so I'll stop this and we can go ahead and continue with building out the quiz. So inside of our will appear function, there's going to be a few references we'll need to make after this predicate happens. And so those are going to be next quiz. Then we're going to do assign. We're going to create a method for this, assign button text, pass in answers. So we'll need to create this to get rid of the error. So what this is doing is every time this view appears, we select a different quiz. And this is going to be using a random number generator to get different quizzes based off of their IDs or different questions. Then we'll take the answers for that question and assign them to the button text. So down here, we'll mock out this, and we want to pass in answers. So answers is of this type. We can do this and paste that there. I believe that will handle the error up here. Yes. So there's a few functions that we're going to create kind of in a particular order, because some will reference other functions. So we'll start with kind of the basic function, which does not reference any other functions. And that one is going to be called create answer IDs. And remember, we have our answers inside of a string that's comma delimited. So if we go down here, we'll have, these are the questions right here. This is what they look like. We need to split these apart for the respective question. And that's what we're going to do here. So we have answer IDs, and I'm going to just initialize that as an array. Then we'll have let array question, and we want to do answers or answer choices. Now we can split this, so we're going to do components separated by a string. And this is going to be a comma, so that's what we're splitting on. Now we'll do flat map, and this right here is going to help us get the particular item and bring it back into the array. So what we're doing now is casting as an integer, casting the string as an integer. And let's see, I think we need right here, close our bracket. I think we can close that as well. Then we'll have a loop. So we're going to do for I in ARR. And in the loop, we're just going to fill up this answer IDs array. So I'll do append I. And I think there's an error right up here that's affecting this for loop. Let's see here. So I doubt that there's a comma that needs to go here. It's more of an issue with what I've done here. Let's see, flat map doesn't have a parenthesis right there. It's just the braces that is enclosing this. Okay, so now what do we have here? We need to do some unwrapping. And I think that fixes that part. So something else we're going to need is the ability to shuffle the questions to make sure we're not going to get the same questions over and over, and that we'll actually go to a different question. So we're going to have a function here called shuffle array, and this is going to be the type that we're going to pass in. So we're making this generic, and we're just going to call this parameter array param. This is going to be array t, so the same type, and the body of this. So we're going to return that array t, and now we can work on the body. So we're going to create an array that's going to hold array param, and then we're going to create a loop. So this is going to be the loop index equals array count -1 index greater than 0 index minus equals 1. So we're just basically going backwards is what's happening with this. Then in the body of this, we're going to do let j equals int. We're creating the random numbers right here, so we're going to have an arc random. It's actually going to be an arc random uniform. So we'll do UI int 32, and we want to pass in a parameter here. This is going to be index -1. So you get rid of all these parentheses. All right, I think that matches. Then down here, we'll do a swap. Pass in the array. It's actually a reference to it, index, and then a reference again. So this way we're swapping things around so that they can't just be sequential. Then we will return the array. All right, so let's see what we have here. This needs to be semicolon. Let's see, move this over. So that was the issue, the spacing between the minus equals and the 1. And I'm going to go ahead and compile this now. Run. So that succeeded. All right, so to kind of go over what this is doing, and we can see it a little bit better once we actually use it and pass parameters in, but we're going to have an array of integers, and those are going to go in. So we're going to create this loop and start looping through them. Then we're going to randomly pull out an integer, assign it to j. Then we're going to do some swapping here and return a different array, or a reordered array is basically what's going to happen with that. Now we're going to continue with our next quiz function, that will start making use of these here, and we'll need to also start looking at how we can assign text onto our buttons.